Hey bag ladies and bag dudes, today I'm going to be talking about the Precision Machine Oiler Crashing Waves Machine Embroidery Designs, Carolyn Friedlander Poke Fabric, the Button Lovers Club, Quilters Planner, and the demonstration for tonight will be a fun no-sew project using Mod Podge, and there's a great giveaway at the end. I'm Sarah Lawson from Sew Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Social Sunday, my weekly sewing chat. Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me for Social Sunday. I'm super excited to be here with you tonight, and I saw everyone chatting on Facebook and YouTube before we even started. Actually up to an hour before we started, people were already in the chat, especially on YouTube, talking back and forth, talking about what projects they were working on, personal things that were going on in their life. And I think that's a super great thing, and it reminded me of that line from the TV show Cheers, where you say, you know, something about, I want to be where everyone knows my name. Is that Cheers, Danny? Yes, Danny's nodding. All right, I got it right. And that's kind of what it reminded me of watching the chat, because when certain people would come on, I saw that others were asking them questions about particular things that they knew that they were up to, and it's like they knew each other really. So that's really awesome. And I see Phyllis is joining us from Florida. Dawn's here. So thank you everyone so much for taking time out of your day to be here with me. Just a friendly reminder, just about everything that I talk about during Social Sunday are things that I've purchased myself. So these are not things that I'm getting paid to talk to you about, but just cool things that I found that I'd like to share with you. And also as a reminder, all of the fabrics, books, notions, and projects that I'm scheduled to talk to you about, I link to in the description. So if you're interested in finding out more about any of those things, just check that link in the description and you can find out more that way. So first things first, Michelle and Bronwyn, who are admins in the Facebook group, are co-hosting a sew-along that starts this Monday, which is tomorrow. And it's for the tutor bag. So it's a sew-along for the tutor bag. And we're conducting the sew-along in the Facebook group via some albums. And so last week there was an album posted for fabric choices. So everyone posted the exterior, the lining, and the accent fabrics that they're using for their bags. And I think there's over 100 photos posted so far. So take a look if you have some time after the show. It's really fun to see all of the fabric choices. And actually the link to that week 1 album is in the description. So that's the album for the fabric choices for the sew-along. Week 2 album has just been posted, and week 2, which starts tomorrow, that's September 10th, will be for fusing and attaching the interfacing to the fabric. So each week there's a special task going in order as far as construction in the pattern, and there will be some great prizes. Every week we're going to be doing prizes for participation out of all those who have posted photos in the album. So it's really important if you're participating in that sew-along to make sure you get your photo posted to the album for each week, because we'll be choosing randomly drawn winners to be awarded prizes from the photos that are posted in the albums. And make sure, Bronwyn wanted me to let you know, make sure you post your photo in the album and not your photo in a thread of comments, just to make sure that it counts for the prizes. And if you're not sure how to do that, just feel free to ask in the Facebook group, and I'm sure one or more than one member of the group will be very happy to answer your question. Okay, so getting started with my favorite, as always, the notion of the week. This week the notion that I've added to my stash is for this Precision Machine Oiler. So this is a little device that helps you oil parts of your sewing machine that need to be oiled on a regular basis. So this was the oiler that I got when I purchased my sewing machine. So the sewing machine oil just comes in this little canister. There's a lid on the canister, and you just kind of drop the oil where it needs to be placed. So this was fine, but the problem that I found with this was it was really hard to get just one drop of oil in each spot, because once I tipped this canister over, the oil would just keep coming out. Also, there's probably 3 or 4 times that I've knocked this over on my desk, because that's where I keep it. And when I've knocked it over, I obviously didn't notice right away, and I would end up with sewing machine oil on my desk. So it would be really greasy. It would get all over my other papers and things, and it's just a mess. And actually, in fact, the bottle is still kind of oily and greasy. So let me show you this Precision Machine Oiler in the side camera just so you can see it up close. Here's what the oiler looks like, and there's two pieces to this. So first is the cap screws off. This is where the oil comes. So the cap is handy because it protects, not that the oil will be dripping, but it makes this certainly a drip-free device. And the cap also screws off right here. And this is where you place the oil. So there's sort of a little piece of metal sticking up. This reservoir right here is where you'll place the oil. And actually I'll put a little bit from my old oil vial inside just so you can see. It goes right in there. And it holds a good amount inside. So I'm going to just go ahead and screw that back on. And this kind of has sort of a pen cap tip over here. So this is what dispenses the oil, and I'll show you in a minute. So I went ahead and pulled out a piece of construction paper just so that I could show you how it oils. So every time you click the end of this device, 1 drop of oil will come out. So I'm just going to go ahead and hold that, and there's the 1 drop, and as you'll notice, it's not dripping from here. So the thing that I find handy about this is with my old vial, obviously I had to tip this over to get the oil to come out, which makes it difficult to oil in places where you're not oiling from the top down. So this, obviously you can oil upright like this. I have a side loading bobbin, so I can oil very handy once I take my bobbin casing out. The side of my sewing machine, you can also kind of poke it upright if you need to get up into another area of the machine, and then when you're done, the cap just twists in place and there's no oil leakage, nothing getting all over your sewing table. And I like that this is in the shape of a pen because now I'm keeping it in. I have a few cups of pens, like my friction pens, my Clover Choco, my scissors. I have that on my desk, and so now I have a handy place to keep this because it's pen shaped, and I'll probably be ditching this little vial. I'll use up the rest of the oil to fill up my pen. So that's the Precision Machine Oiler, just something new and fun that I found that I added to my sewing room. And it's the little things, you know, the little things that make sewing easier, that make sewing less messy. So certainly happy to add that to my sewing room. Sorry about that. So this past Friday we had our live First Friday sew-in. The first Friday of every month we have a live chat with up to 25 members of the Sew Sweetness community, and of course everyone can watch live at home on Facebook or on YouTube. And there were a few questions about snap tabs, and so I wanted to talk about that on the show because they're just really neat, inexpensive, and fun to make. So I actually have a few. I did not make these myself, but I had friends that made them for me that I purchased from them. And let me move over to the side camera just so that I can show you these cute little cuties really quick. These are Violet's, and she loves using these on her backpack. So these are 3 that were made using glitter vinyl from my shop, so they're really shiny because they're glitter vinyl. But this is Stitch from Disney. This is a really cute llama made with the rose gold glitter vinyl, and this is white glitter vinyl with a unicorn. And the reason, or I'm guessing the reason that they're called snap tabs, is that they're made with cam snaps. I'm sure you could use a pearl snap also, and that just holds the keychain to the purse hardware. So let me just slide over to the other camera again. So I've linked to in the description the website Crashing Waves, which has these embroidery files if you have an embroidery machine at home. But these are really cute projects to work on. Most of the projects that I saw were about $2 or $3 for the embroidery file with the instructions. And besides the snap tab keychains, there were lots of other fun projects like bookmarks, little pouches. I saw also some sanitizer holders, so those little bottles of hand sanitizer that you can find at Bath & Body Works or your local store like Target or Walgreens. Little holders to hold those little bottles of sanitizer, and lots of fun characters and designs. I'm not sure if these designs were from Crashing Waves or not, but they had, I mean, hundreds upon hundreds to look through, and they were all just really darling. So if there's another site that you use for embroidery designs for little projects like these, besides Crashing Waves, maybe you could let us know in the comments just so we can all check that out. But the Crashing Waves website is phenomenal, and there's so many fun things, projects to work on. I had my eye on, there was an Apple bookmark, and it attaches to the book using elastic, and I thought that would be really fun and quick for a teacher gift, just because school has started back up again. So Check that link out after the show. It's really fun. And I have a question for you to go along with that. Do you have an embroidery machine? Let me know in the comments. I know I've asked this before, but I just sort of like to ask it once in a while because I'm curious to see how many people that we have with embroidery machines. And it's actually, every time I ask, I'm surprised by the amount of people that do have embroidery machines. And embroidery machines are awesome to use for small projects like bags or pouches as well. I saw Mirta made a box pouch with faux leather from my shop recently, and it was embroidered, and it looked really professional. I like how the embroidery makes the projects look, for sure. Okay, so new fabric added to my stash this week. It's a very small amount of fabric because I need to rein myself back in and get some self-control back, but it's fabric designed by Carolyn Friedlander, and Carolyn Friedlander designs fabric that sort of looks architectural, and so this fabric line is called Poke. So I'm going to slide over to the side camera and show you these two fabrics that I picked up. These have a definite weave to them, so they're not exactly quilting cotton. I'm not sure if the colors will show up really well on camera, but this one, I really loved this one because it's sort of a natural background with white printing. I'm not sure exactly what projects that I'll use these for, but I just thought they were cool and different from other things that I already have. And I think this would also be good for some home decor also. I think that would be pretty for cushions or pillows on the couch. So the link that I linked to in the description, I happened to find a shop that had the Carolyn Friedlander fabric on sale, so happy coincidence. I'm not sure how long the sale is for, but check that out if you'd like to see some of her other fabrics. And I also have 2 boxes from the Button Lovers Club to share with you. And this year's Button Lovers Club is buttons with words. And so here's a fun project idea that came with this particular box, sort of Christmas in July type of thing. And there's definitely the buttons with the words as well as color themed buttons. So here's the buttons that came in this box. And there's also, as you can see, there's the holly and ornaments, and there's I see a peppermint in there as well. So lots of fun buttons in here. And then here are the coordinating buttons, and I like that they're different shapes and finishes. I noticed this little flower back here. So these are handmade buttons, and they're just really fun. And let me show you the second box that I got. So the second box was designed to go along with Bonnie and Camille fabrics. And let me show you that project card first of all. So here's the project ideas that came with the box, and these cute little cushions. And I like to show the words first. So let me actually open this up because some of these are kind of on the bigger side. So here's the buttons that came in the box, and then also the solid colored buttons to go along with it. So lots of fun coordinating colors, and I really love the ideas of that pin cushion, and you can go ahead and stitch out a cute little word to go along with it. So again, both the fabric and the Button Lovers Club are linked to in the description in case you're interested in those. And moving on to Danny's favorite part of the show, we'd like to ask you if you're a bag lady or a bag dude to let us know in the comments, and go ahead and just type that in the comments right now. And I know I say this week after week, but the bag making community is the best I've ever seen, and we've had a couple meetups go on this past weekend because we have Sew Sweetness groups for I think every state and for a lot of countries as well. And the California group had a meetup on Friday, and today the Connecticut group had their meetup. So it's a lot of fun. I'll talk more about those meetups and show some pictures on this Tuesday's show. All right. Oh, another reminder, today is the very last day for the 4-pack video bundle. So if you have not gotten yours yet and you are interested in that, the link is in the description, and that's 4 brand new videos going along with the 4 PDF patterns so that you can make the projects. And the tutor bag is included in that bundle, which is the sew-along that I mentioned at the beginning of the chat. So again, link is in the description if you're interested in that. And I also had a couple of really, really nice letters this week, and there's one that I wanted to read. This one was from Sonia, and Sonia gave me permission to read this on the show because I thought it was really amazing and inspiring. So here is Sonia's letter. Sonia says, I want to thank you for all that you do for the sewing community. I love your patterns, enjoy learning new things from you, and watching you and Danny. You have also helped me accomplish a personal non-sewing goal. I have struggled with my weight for my entire life and have had many ups and downs. Right now the scale is up, and my doctor said she was worried about my weight gain and wants me to be healthier overall. She was trying to get me to walk 15 minutes a day for over 6 months. I start and find some reason to stop or not make it a priority. She asked what I wanted or would make a good reward for 30 days straight of walking, so it becomes habit forming. I said the Minikins pattern, so my supportive significant other and I talked about it, and if I accomplished 30 days straight, I could have them. I was able to get them on Tuesday. Being practical, Frank, my significant other, asked what was going to keep me walking after I met my 30-day goal. I told him you have a new set of Minikins coming out at the end of October, and if I walk every day until they come out, I can get them. Hopefully by then it is a well-established habit. Thank you for all you do. It is easy to see this is more than just a business for you. Thank you, Sonia. So that letter really, whew, I almost started crying when I read that letter because I know it's hard. I certainly struggle with certain things, and I know, sorry Danny, I hope you don't mind, but Danny has an addiction to soda or pop depending on where you live, and you know, he can go for maybe 2 weeks giving pop up, but then he goes right back to it. So I know we all have our vices, and certainly setting a goal to make sure that you stick with what you're trying to work toward, such as Sonia with her walking, is really amazing. And I love that she set that particular goal to kind of go along with sewing. And I think it's amazing, and I can't wait to see the projects that she's going to make from the bundle and from the future bundle. And I don't know, I just think it's really fun, and fun to achieve something that's been difficult for you or difficult to stick with. So thanks for letting me share that letter, Sonia. I think it's really important, the idea of goals. So I'd like to ask you, if you enjoy our Social Sunday videos, if you enjoy our tutorial videos or our bag making videos, if you're watching on Facebook, if you could go ahead and hit the share button right now and share this video with your other sewing friends. And regardless, either if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, if you could at least hit the like button, which is a little picture of a thumbs up. And likes and shares help us out so much, because Facebook and YouTube see videos with lots of likes and shares, and they consider sharing those videos with other people that have not seen them before but may be interested in them, just because they have similar interests based on other videos that they have watched in the past. So your likes and shares go a long way in helping bring other people into the bag making community and help other people join in on our shows. All right, so the book review for this week is actually something that was sent to me. So this was sent to me for free, but they also sent me a second package of this particular item to give away, which I'll be giving away at the end of the show. So just wanted to let you know that, because pretty much everything that I usually buy and show on the show are things that I normally pay full price, and I'm happy to do so, but this one was actually sent to me for free. So just wanted to let you know that. I'm going to pop over to the side camera and show you what that is right now. So before I show you the Quilters planner, I have to show you my Quilters planner from this year. So it's actually something that I use on a daily basis, and there's different views for months. As you can see, I've marked out my month of September of things that are going on. I also have portions of the planner for day-to-day type things. So if I go on a week view, I can write myself different notes based on each day. And I also have, there's an area in the back of the book for projects, which I keep track of project ideas, things that I want to come out with, progress. I just keep myself accountable. So this is the Quilters planner from 2018, which is what I'm using right now. And the new planner is just coming out. This is the Quilters planner 2019, and it's not just the planner. This year they have a lot of extra little goodies. So I'm going to show you all these goodies. Violet actually wanted to keep this one, but I opened it up and I took a look at it and I said, Violet, there's appointments in here, and there's a meal planner. I'm not sure that you'd be using the meal planner unless you're making dinner, are you? And she said no. So I said, well, I better keep this one, even though it's little and cute. So there's meal planners, project planners in here, and daily planners. So this is something that you could possibly toss in your purse or your work bag and keep yourself accountable for the tasks that you need to be completing every day. There's a little English paper piecing kit with the pre-cut papers, and the project is in this magazine that also comes with the Quilters planner. So this is a rather hefty magazine. How many pages? There's over 120 pages in here, and these are all really fun projects, free projects that come along with the Quilters planner, and it's a full color. Like I said, it looks like a magazine. So
it's all, they can't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. We forgot. Okay, sorry about the brightness.
The other quilter planner, put it under the back.
Okay. I usually put something underneath. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me show you some of the projects. This year's Quilters Planner projects are coordinating, the designs are coordinating with Camille Ross Kelly, and the projects in the book are really, really cute. So here's an interview with Camille, and here's the first project in this little magazine. This is a Hexie Snowflake Sampler. So really cute, lots of interesting details in the quilt blocks. Full color instructions with illustrations for putting the blocks together. And then let me just flip through and show you the other projects really quick too. This one's called Crisscross Courthouse. There's the full view of what the finished quilt will look like. Here's another really cute article about foundation paper piecing. And then these adorable little pin cushions are also projects that are included in this little magazine. Here's the picnic quilt, trellis vines, canned pineapples. I think that's adorable. This is called Churn Echoes. And then there's the full photograph of that finished quilt. So as you can see, tons and tons of projects to work on. So when you're getting the Quilters Planner, if it's something that you're interested in, lots of other fun things come along with it. So here's the project that went along with the shapes that came with the Quilters Planner. This one's called Garden Windows. Rainbow Arrows. And Georgia's Dresden. That one's really beautiful as well. Drinking in the Sunshine. So as you can see, all the templates are in the back. Oh, here's one more I wanted to show you. Tribal Diamond. That's probably my favorite in the entire magazine. So really lovely. Let me go ahead and show you the 2019 Quilters Planner as well. I know I showed you my 2018. So I'm going to be using this one starting in January. So it's got some of the same things that the 2018 version has. It has the month view as well as the breakdown of the days, so you can write your tasks down for each day. And once all of the months are through, there's a lot of helpful information in the back. Different fabric sizes, cutting, how to cut squares from yardage, how many you can get. So all the calculations are put in there for you, different piecing methods, so instructions on how to make different portions of blocks, color theory, so a lot of helpful information. Here's some grids for designing quilt blocks or taking notes, stickers even. So a lot of fun things in the Quilters Planner, and I know I use mine. Like I said, I keep mine right underneath my keyboard so I can use it all the time. So this is the Quilters Planner. It's available now. The link is in the description, and if you stick around till the end of tonight's show, I'll be giving away a second set because I was sent a second set to give away, which is really, really fun. So thanks to the folks at the Quilters Planner. So I have a question for you. Let me know in the comments. Do you use a planner or a bullet journal? So let me know in the comments. I've never used a bullet journal before, but I've seen a lot of really beautiful and beautifully illustrated ones on Instagram. So just let me know your answer in the comments. Obviously, I use my Quilters Planner. I've been using it for almost a year, since we're in September already, and I really enjoy using it, and something that I've been able to stick with and use consistently. All right, so the demonstration for tonight is actually a no-sew project. So I made these with Violet earlier today, and these are coasters, and so I made these using fabric. Here's a couple I made using some Disney fabric, and I made a large one to use as sort of like a hot plate in the kitchen. And these are really easy to make. You just need a few supplies to make these easy no-sew coasters, and these are projects made using Mod Podge. So the first thing you'll need is a tile, and I picked these up at the hardware store, and you can choose any size or style that you like. So I got a few of these, and actually this particular tile came on a sheet at the hardware store, and these came on a bit of mesh, and I just kind of peeled the tile off from the mesh, so this was just something that I saw that caught my eye, and I really wanted to go with this design for my coasters. And I also picked up a larger square tile. Square tiles make really good coasters as well. So here's one of the larger square tiles that I was able to pick up. And most of the tiles for a single tile, you'll be able to pick up between 20 cents and 90 cents. I think these large tiles that I found were, I think, maybe 78 cents, something like that. So just depending on what they have at your local hardware store. You'll also need a bit of fabric, and we all have fabric scraps that we can certainly use for a small project like this. You'll need a brush. Any old brush will work just fine. And Mod Podge is the secret sauce. So there's a couple different types of Mod Podge that I experimented with for this particular project. The one with the red label, well, I guess it's kind of a reddish orange label. This one is glossy finish, and the yellow label is matte finish. So in the description, I did link to the glossy finish. I kind of like, it's personal preference certainly, but I kind of like the matte finish better, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. Another supply that you'll need is some sort of sealant spray. So I picked up the Krylon clear sealer. Basically, you need an acrylic spray to seal the finished project. The reason that you need the acrylic spray is that years ago I made these coasters with just the Mod Podge, and the Mod Podge, even over time, is just a little bit tacky and sticky, and the clear sealer takes away the stickiness, and it's just a smooth, clear project. And you'll need a bit of fabric glue to finish this off, and I just use the same fabric glue that I use for attaching twist locks or using other glue for whatever projects that I'm making. And you'll need some felt, and this felt is really inexpensive. I think this sheet was 25 cents, and obviously you'll need just a small portion of the felt for this particular project. All right, so I'm gonna slide over to the side camera, and I'm actually gonna make one for you, and I'll explain the process and tell you how to finish it. Okay, so let me grab a piece of paper over here. I'm gonna be working with this tile tonight. And as I mentioned, I'm going to use the matte finish. I feel like I made two of the tiles. This one's made using the matte finish, and this one was made using the glossy. You can probably see on the camera the glossy, you can see my brush strokes, and the matte finish looks pretty matte. So that's the reason I like the matte better, but either is fine. And like I said, I linked to the glossy in the description, but if you'd like the matte instead, just go ahead and do a search for that one so you can get that one in your hands instead of the glossy. Okay, so the first step is, I forgot to mention about the fabric scraps. So I cut my fabric 1/4 of an inch smaller on all sides than the actual tile. So as you can see, that fabric is cut smaller, and you'll also be cutting the felt the same size as the fabric. And the reason that I cut it smaller is I just like to have that little bit of a margin on all of the edges. So I used my tile to place it on my fabric. I traced around the tile, and then I used my ruler to cut it 1/4 of an inch smaller on all sides. Okay, so I'm going to take that Mod Podge, and I'm going to use my brush and brush a thin layer on the top of the tile, and you want to brush all the way to the edges. So just make sure you cover the whole entire top of the tile. Okay, so obviously you want to make sure that you iron your fabric first, and then I'm going to place my fabric centered as best I can on the tile, and then you want to take your fingers from the center outward and just make sure everything's flat, and that'll help get bubbles out. I actually had a couple bubbles in that really big tile that I made, but it's not super noticeable. But this will help make sure everything's nice and flat, and because you have that first layer of Mod Podge, it'll stick to the middle of the tile. Okay, so now it's time to immediately add a second coating of the Mod Podge directly on top, and again you want to brush all the way out to the edges, because brushing out to the edges will seal that fabric in place. Okay, so I'm going to start from the center and work my way outward. As you'll notice when I'm brushing it on, it looks white. The Mod Podge dries clear, but I like that it looks white when you brush it on, because then you can see which areas you've covered. Okay, so I'm going to brush it on the whole piece of fabric first, and then I'm going to take care of the edges just to make sure all of those threads are concealed. Okay, so as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but the top I've got a little loose thread, so the top and the bottom, I'm going to just brush it horizontally. And then the sides, I'm going to brush vertically just to make sure I have all of those threads concealed. Okay, and then I'm going to go over one more time and make sure that my brush strokes are all going in the same direction. Okay, so you're going to let this dry, this first coat dry for 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you're going to apply a second coat, basically 3 coats in all, but you need to leave 20 minutes drying time between each coat. So obviously I can't have a show for the next hour while we wait for this to dry, but let me just walk you through the next steps. So 3 coats, 20 minutes in between. When it's had a chance to fully dry, that's when you're going to apply this sealer. And I highly recommend spraying this out of doors. So I put this tile in just an old cardboard box, and I went outside and I sprayed 2 coats of the sealer on top of my tile. So you just need to wait 1 minute between each coat. So I was just outside for about 3 minutes. 2 coats of the sealer, let it dry for an hour, and then you're ready to apply that foam on the bottom of the tile. So to apply, that felt. To apply the felt, I just used a bit of fabric glue, and you want to just make sure you get it. My particular tile had sort of different edges on the back, so you just want to make sure that you get that glue in all of the different edges. Actually, I can probably glue that on camera right now for you, even though the front is drying. All right, so just get a little bit of glue on all of the edges, even on the raised edges. And then just center that felt, just like I centered the felt, the fabric on the front of the tile. All right, so after you've applied all those coats and let it dry, this is the finished product, and I think it looks pretty neat. And especially, I love the matte, and it really, especially if you pick a bright color, that fabric will really pop. And let me slide over to the front view camera again. I had an idea right before the show that this would be really neat to make with a larger ceramic tile if you had a quilt block, like a really intricate or favorite quilt block. If you trim the edges really nicely, you could certainly have a really nice trivet with a cute quilt block on it. So this is just a really fun project. Actually, Violet made these all herself earlier today when we went to my grandma's house. I knew we needed to have a few finished samples done, and I knew they needed to be done earlier rather than later because of the drying time. So my 9-year-old daughter made these herself, and these would be really fun gifts, housewarming gifts, something for the holidays, something quick and easy, and especially for a fellow fabric lover, using fabrics that you both love would be a really nice touch to a project like that. So hope you enjoyed that project. I have a few more things to get to on the end of the show. So first things first, the giveaway of last week's giveaway was Charlie McDonald, and I've already contacted Charlie. We actually had a live phone chat with Charlie earlier, and we let him know that he was the winner because he was hosting a meetup in Connecticut, and so Danny and I jumped on the phone and we chatted with them briefly while they were visiting a fabric shop, so that was a lot of fun. I also wanted to say happy birthday to Wilhelmine. Her birthday was 2 days ago, so happy birthday to you. And also Jeanette emailed me right before the show. I didn't reply back to her email yet because we were getting ready, but I read her email and she said, Jeanette said that her grandson was born on Friday, so congratulations to you, Jeanette. All right, so let's get over to some questions. If you have a question for me, let me know in the comments. I'll answer some questions live. It can either be a sewing related question, bag making related. If you have a question about a sewing notion or tool, let me know in the comments and I'll answer some questions live. Danny's going to put them on the screen right now. I sort of jumped in there really quick, so he's probably still searching for one to put up on the screen. Yeah, we see everyone saying congratulations to Jeanette and happy birthday to Wilhelmine. So yeah, just some fun things. I'd like to add more fun things like that to the show in future. Birthdays and births and things like that. That's a lot of fun. Any questions, Danny? No? I think I sort of caught him off guard with the well wishes. So as I mentioned on the Tuesday show, this Tuesday we'll be posting some pictures of some of the meetups that have been going on in the state groups and also in the country groups. I see a question coming up from LeJune. What fabric are you using? So I think you were probably asking about the fabric that I use for my coasters. This is actually fabric from a company on Facebook called Backstitch Fabrics. I really love Disney stuff, and so this is Disney Villains. So this is really cool fabric. I think I have mine. I tossed it somewhere else, but it's a really nice feeling fabric, and they make it in woven fabrics as well as knits, which are great for like PJ pants or t-shirts and things like that. Barbara says, I use cork on the back of mine like from a cork board. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That would be really cool, and definitely a little bit more upscale than my felts that I used on the back of mine. Joanna Lee says, what size is your gray pressing board that you use each show? I think I can pull the board off of my cardboard over here. So this is the 17-inch size, and it's 1/2 inch thick, and as you can see, it's really flexible, which is really nice because I don't have to worry about damaging it. I move the mats around in the sewing room a lot, and I kind of just toss them on the ground and pick them back up, and they're really nice to work with, and they're nice for pressing too. The other day I had mine next to my sewing machine because I didn't have a lot of space for pressing, and I didn't want to set up my ironing board, so I set this wool mat up next to my sewing machine, and it was really, really handy and nice not having to get up and down. We have these wool mats in 3 different sizes on the website, and it's under the Notions tab. So we also have them in 13.5 inches and 8.5 inches. Kathy says, do you suggest fusing SF101 to the fabric before cutting or just after? I've seen it done both ways. I've seen people that have steam presses, which are like a large flatbed area with a lid that helps with pressing a lot of things really quickly. I've seen people, especially with steam presses, fuse the whole piece of fabric to the interfacing and then cut. So it could be done that way. I don't have a steam press, so I just cut out my fabric and interfacing individually and then press it after the fact. But obviously fusing it first and then cutting would be a bit quicker. You might have a little bit more fabric waste, but that would be a quick process to use if you'd like to. Sherry says, are you selling the oiling pen on your site? Yes, we actually just have a few of them. We were only able to get a hold of a few, but this precision machine oiler is linked to in the description in case you're interested in that. Gloria says, Sarah, how is the best way to sew around corners? I really had a tough time working the corners on the Moto bag. So for me personally, when I'm sewing on curves, I generally slow down a bit. If at all possible, and if you're comfortable, or if you just want to live on the edge, I feel like my corners look nicer if I can continuously sew, meaning not stopping, because every time I stop, there's a chance that I might get a little bit of a straight edge in there, if you know what I mean. So if you possibly can, just sew slower. It doesn't matter how slow you sew. Very, very slow is fine. And then just try to keep a continuous circle. If you're having trouble, you also might find it helpful to mark the seam allowance, the curved edge, because that might help you if you can just keep track of the drawn edge for your stitching line and just sew right on top of the line. That might help you as well. I think I've done that a few times in the past, but normally I just try to use the markings on my sewing machine bed for that seam allowance. Kelly says, are purse feet and Chicago screws the same? They're actually different, and I have actually videos for both of those, 2 different things, 2 separate videos on my YouTube channel. So purse feet have prongs on the back, so you put a hole through the fabric. The purse foot goes through the right side of the fabric, and there's 2 prongs that open outward on the wrong side of the fabric. Chicago screws are different in the fact that they kind of resemble rivets. So by rivet, I mean, so here on this Baker Street bag, these are rivets right here, and these are more decorative. So a purse foot is used on the bottom of a bag to keep the bag off the floor. So the purse foot is elevating the bag off the floor, and the rivet is more decorative. So the Chicago screws differ from rivets in that Chicago screws are, hence the name, are screwed in. So all you need for a Chicago screw is a Phillips head screwdriver and a hole punch to make the hole through the fabric. For a rivet, you need either a hand press or a tabletop press to insert that rivet into your fabric, and you still need the hole punch in the right side of the fabric. Janet says, I know you said this before, but how do you get involved in the groups in our state on Facebook? So if you go to the Facebook group, there is, depending on if you're looking from your cell phone or tablet or your computer, if you're on the computer, there's a list of links along the top margin, such as photos, videos, I think. Files is the one that you're looking for. If you're looking on your cell phone, that'll be, sorry, I can't remember if I said the computer should be on the left-hand side. If you're on the cell phone, the tabs will be along the top, and you're looking for the one that says Files. When you click on the tab that says Files, you'll find social circles, and when you click on that, it'll give you a document of all of the state groups as well as the country groups they will be linked to, and you can just click on that link to join. I've also had success doing a search in Facebook for your state. So for example, if you're looking for Connecticut, you would type in the Facebook search box SSSP, so that's 3 S's, SSSP, and then Connecticut. Click enter, and then that group listing should come up for you. I had to do that search a few times over the past week, and each time I had success typing in SSSP and then whatever state or country, so like England, New Zealand, what have you. Hopefully that helps. Colleen says, for the tutor bag, is the long over-the-shoulder strap optional? Yes, so for the tutor bag, you can either have, let me see if I have my tutor bag handy. You can either have the handles on the front or the side strap, or you can have both. So I would recommend choosing at least one of those options so you have something to carry the bag. But if you don't want the side strap on your bag, just having the front straps is perfectly okay. Jessica says, with the tutor bag, the straps are supposed to be 5 inches wide. What if we are making leather or vinyl straps instead of cotton? Should we be doubling the size of the adjustable strap depending on the size of our adjustable strap notion, or how does the strap translate from cotton to vinyl? That's a really good question. So for my particular side strap on my tutor bag, I was working with a really thin faux leather, so I made my strap according to the pattern instructions. If you would just like the 2 layers, this side strap is 1 inch wide. If you want 2 layers, you'll just be cutting your fabric 2 inches wide. And if you need it a little bit thicker than just the 2 layers, if you want 3 layers instead, just multiply that 1 inch by 3, so 3 inches wide, and you'll just fold it over so you have thirds, so you have a finished strap that's 1 inch wide. Hopefully that makes sense. But it just depends on the thickness of the fabric that you're using for your strap. Linda says, any idea when your template for the rounding corners will be back in stock? Actually, Ed is mailing those templates out to us Monday. I hope to have those either Wednesday or Thursday. I'll let you know on the next live show when we get those back in. Also on the website, we now have a feature that you can sign up to be notified for an out-of-stock item when it comes back in stock. So if you visit the product listing for the rounding corner acrylic template, there will be a little email box near the bottom of the screen, since that's listed as out of stock right now. You can just enter your email address in there, and then we'll automatically email you as soon as we list those as back in stock. Linda says, why do the pockets on the tutor bag have no interfacing? That's a good question. So for a lot of my zipper pockets, I skipped the interfacing. You could certainly use Pell and Shapeflex if you'd like for extra reinforcement, but my thinking was, and especially I remember the days of using thrift store sheets for backing quilts and making quilt blocks, and so I know interfacing can get expensive, and I try to eliminate a little bit of interfacing in regards to the zipper pockets, at least the fabric for the zipper pockets. But if you'd like to add Shapeflex, it won't interfere with the look of the finished bag, and it won't be difficult to sew your pocket, so you can certainly add that in if you'd like to. Mary Lee says, have you thought of making a folder for carrying, organizing needle packages for various sized machine needles? For example, 5 needle packages of Schmetz needles, top stitch needles, etc. Actually, I've seen people make projects like, for example, the Creative Maker supply case or the Ultimate Art Organizer to hold needles, but obviously they modified the pattern to make the pockets for those. But I think it would be fun to have a very specific pattern with all of those measurements already included in the pattern. So Dan, you want to throw me a pen? I'll write myself a note for a project that will hold needles and organize them for you. Good idea. You don't have a pen? Okay. I'll try to remember after the show. I'll write it down as soon as the show's over. Good question though. I think that would be a really fun project. All right, so let's get over to the giveaway for this week. As I mentioned, the giveaway is that package, that Quilters planner package that I talked about during the book review section. So it'll include the planner as well as the project magazine, the English paper piecing templates. I think that's it. Yeah, so a really fun package. I have a brand new set ready in the box to ship out to one lucky winner. All you have to do to enter that giveaway is to answer this question in the comments before the end of the day this Saturday. And the question is, what is your favorite day of the week? So really simple. Try to pick a question that kind of relates to, that is planner related. So just let me know your favorite day of the week. My favorite day of the week is Monday because it's a fresh work week, and I like to get up early and jump in and just get started working. So go ahead, answer that question in the comments. One lucky winner will win that Quilters planner package. Thanks so much for joining me for Sewcial Sunday. I had a great time tonight. I hope you did too. I'll see you again next Sunday. Have a great rest of the week and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.